have to admit it's kind of funny because I know that this is true, right? I know that when I was young, it ticked me off for people to talk about the fact that when you get older, you'll realize this, you'll understand that. You think about it and you go, what a silly thing to say, but the reality is it's actually true. And that's why I am part of the reason I'm doing this piece that I'm doing today that I've titled You're Seldom Ready. This is what we're talking about today on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host, I'm Kurt, and today is Friday the 11th of June of 2021. Glad to have you along, whether it's on YouTube, on the podcast, on Rumble. Thank you for coming along and visiting with me today. As I say, the subject of today's piece is You're Seldom Ready. And I'm going to go ahead and read my notes. And here it is. Here's the key phrase. As I've gotten older, I've become more able to, quote, roll with the punches, end of quote. That said, most of the time things happen in life for which I am not ready. I'm not under the illusion that I'm alone in that. Life has its fantastic moments and its not so great ones. Instead of believing you're going to be ready for every moment, which in my mind is not some sort of a dream, it's a delusion, realize life doesn't work like that. And you need to learn to act accordingly. You'll have hard times, you'll have easy ones. Don't count on either staying around for too long. Neither is going to do that. Okay, done with my notes, so let's get into this. I work in a career field that changes, I won't say moment by moment, but on a pretty regular and ongoing basis. There are pretty constant changes in my world. I used to use the expression, I felt like I made it up. I'm sure I'm not anything like the first person to say it. The only thing constant is change. That's not really true. There are some things that are some that are eternal and some that seem like they are. But the point is, there's a lot of change in our lives, a lot of change in our worlds. And we have to be able to live with the idea, with the consideration that that's the case, that that's true. And so in my little world, I'm sitting at a new job and I'm trying to get everything all set up. And of course, what you would think should take a day or two, maybe the first week, no, it's still not anywhere near done yet, because I'm having to go through a variety of different things in order to figure out how to make things work. And if you think, for example, going to a new job is a great example, a great thing to show you what I'm talking about, imagine having children. You think you say to yourself, well, I'm not ready for children. Nobody's ready for children, but we have a limited time, though that has widened out quite a bit, right, to where people in their 30s and 40s are able to have children and do okay for themselves. What you have to understand is, I was almost 50 when my last kid was born. He's 8, I'm 57. Okay, I was almost 50 by the time he was born. There are concerns there. I cannot keep up with him if he decides that he's going to do things that are very heavily physical. I cannot keep up with him. And he's getting to the point where he's as heavy as I am almost. He's not that heavy, but he's getting there. And he will get there, right? Obviously, that's part of the point. You're never ready, but if you wait, you think that you'll be better off. And to some degree, you might be right, but mostly you're better to make the mistakes today and be wrong, because the mistakes are probably not going to last for the entirety of a thing that you're dealing with. So, the people who are really fantastically successful in life, okay, if you look at them, if you look at the Jeff Bezoses, if you look at the, I'm trying to think of, some of the others, the guy who did Tesla, right, and is doing the various missions to space. If you look at him, these guys are actually quite young by comparison to a lot of us old fogies who are running around. And I'm not as old as you can get by any stretch of the imagination, obviously. I've got maybe another 30 years in me, maybe a little less, maybe more. But the point I'm making is that you look at these guys and they're actually, many of them, quite young. And that's not something that's new. What's happened with a lot of people is that they were quite young, and they moved and they shook and they did the things that they needed to do, and they failed, and you can be assured they didn't fail a little bit, they failed a lot. The point here is you're seldom ready for what you're going to be presented with. If it doesn't kill you, though, and I'm not going to use that it'll make you stronger line, it might, but if it doesn't kill you, you will at least learn from it. Okay, now maybe you'll learn from it in a way that you'll never be able to do that thing again. I don't know, that's hard to say, but my point here is simple. You may think, I'll just wait until I'm ready to do that. And sometimes that's an okay thing to do, but most of the time you have to say, ready or not, here we go. Get used to this idea, people. Get used to the idea that you don't have a guaranteed lifetime past the breath that you're taking right now. Get used to that idea. That's reality. Okay? So if you don't have a guarantee of a life past your next breath, if you want to get anything done in this life, I have a suggestion for you. Get to it. Get to it. Things may seem... Okay, so there was this job that I started 2 or 3 jobs back. And when I started the job, I was working somewhere where they were undervaluing me in a serious kind of way. And I didn't really know that they were undervaluing me. Because up until that point, quite frankly, everybody had undervalued me. And that's okay. I'm not against them for doing that. They're trying to get the best bang for their buck. So they're doing what they can do to get what they can get. Unfortunately for them, when a person is either ushered out, gets to the point where they're not really suitable for the position that they're in anymore, or leaves, when they leave, they're probably going to go somewhere else that will value them a little better, right? And so I went from one position that valued me okay, and it was better than the last position I'd been in, but the next position was a substantial step up in terms of pay and responsibility and so forth. Now I looked at it and I thought, oh my gosh, am I ready for this? And the answer to that question turns out to have been more yes than no, which is kind of surprising. But the point is, the answer is, until you step into that role, first of all, you'll never know. And second of all, the answer was, no, I wasn't ready. And I haven't really been ready for anything. I've had to bring myself to a state of readiness everywhere I've gone. And that's not just in work. That's in personal life as well. Like I say, having kids, having my own house, being the guy who has to mow the lawn, being the guy who brings home the groceries, being the one who buys the various things that your kids need and so forth. I had to figure out how to make all of that work, and you will too. But the thing is, the more time you have to figure it out, the better the chances are that you're going to get to the point where you can do it. And if you can maintain a positive attitude while you're dealing with things that are difficult and realize, no, I'm not going to be ready and I'm just going to have to figure it out, it's going to be better for you in the long run to have had more time to do that than if you had started later thinking, now I'm ready, which you probably won't be then either. I just want to tell you right now, I just want to make it very clear to you. You're probably not going to be ready for anything you encounter in your life, or for very few things that you encounter in your life in any meaningful way. It might help you for other things that you've done to know that you have those things behind you, but you're still not necessarily going to be ready, and you're just going to have to feel your way along just like everybody else does. That's just how that works. And I don't care what you're going through in terms of whether or not you're feeling unready, whether or not you're feeling no confidence or whatever. My answer to you is fail, 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 succeed. That's my answer to you. You must realize that in the course of time, you're going to spend a lot of time failing and a comparatively small amount of time succeeding. And the older you get, hopefully the ratio of failure to success will get better. But the reality is you're still going to have to deal with that. And that's what when I say you're seldom ready, this is what I mean. I don't just mean, oh, wow, this took me by surprise and I didn't realize I'd have to do this or I'd have to do that. But in fact, I failed. Oh, I succeeded. This is the sort of thing that we're talking about. Okay, I need to go ahead and wrap this up. This is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I am Kurt. Today is Friday, the 11th of June of 2021. Thank you for everyone who's been here on Rumble, on YouTube, and on the podcast. Know that Rumble is my preferred platform. I know that you're going to watch me wherever or listen wherever you do. I hope things are going well for you. We are headed for that weekend very quickly, and hopefully things are going well for you as we move towards that weekend. It's starting to show those little signs of summer coming on. Things seem to be going pretty well in general for me, and I hope that that's true for you as well. And hopefully we will see you again on tomorrow's Daily Summation. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video is recorded on Friday, June the 11th of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, and maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.